Chapter 9. The burden of the word of the Lord in the land of Hadrach and in Damascus shall be his resting place. For the Lord's is the eye of man, and all the tribes of Israel. And Chamath also shall border thereon, Tyre and Zidon, for she is very wise. And Tyre did build herself a stronghold, and heaped up silver as the dust, and fine gold as the mire of the streets. Behold, the Lord will impoverish her, and he will smite her power into the sea, and she shall be devoured with fire. Ashkelon shall see it, and fear, Gaza also, and shall be sore pained, and Ekron, for her expectation shall be ashamed, and the king shall perish from Gaza, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited. And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. And I will take away his blood out of his mouth, and his detestable things from between his teeth, and he also shall be a remnant for our God. And he shall be as a chief in Judah, and Ekron as an Ebusite. And I will encamp about my house against the army, that none pass through or return, and no oppressor shall pass through them any more, for now I have seen with mine eyes. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king comes unto you. He is triumphant and victorious, lowly, and riding upon an ass, even upon a colt, the foal of an ass. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the nations. His dominion shall be from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth. As for you also, because of the blood of your covenant, I send forth your prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water. Return to the stronghold, you prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto you. For I bend Judah for me. I fill the bowl with Ephraim, and I will stir up your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Yavan, and will make you as a sword of the mighty man. And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrows shall go forth as the lightning. And the Lord will blow the horn, and will go with the whirlwinds of the south. The Lord of hosts will defend them, and they shall devour, and shall tread down the sling stones, and they shall drink, and make a noise as through wine. And they shall be filled like the basins, like the corners of an altar, like the corners of the altar. And the Lord their God shall save them in the days as the flock of his people. For they shall be as the stones of a crown glittering over his land. For how great is their goodness, and how great is their beauty. Corn shall make the young men flourish, and new wine the maids. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. And the last chapter we will recall now, God was jealous. God was greatly jealous for Zion. Zion's that parched place. It's a portion within Jerusalem. He was jealous for his holy place, where even that place where he had put his name from the beginning, and we're going to find out. The whole purpose in the end was to add to God's flock, and we're going to find out, to enlarge those that understand God. And once again, that's those wide places where we'll find that the boys and the girls, the little children, they do play in the broad places thereof. And we'll also find that the Lord said he would gather his people back, gather them, and this is a great return, a bringing back from the captivity. And we'll find out even that example that God gave us even from before that captivity of confusions. And these are the confusions. The confusions are all the understandings that men want to claim to have. And we'll find out in the end, God give us the law for our understanding and for our knowledge and for our wisdom. And in the end, it does prevail. We also learn that the Lord had purposed to do evil, but now he has turned. He has turned his hand, making a new beginning. That's what chapter 8 was about, this new beginning, God turning things around. We've mentioned this, turning things around. That's what God does. He turns it around. And he asked that they just execute truth, execute judgment, the truth of judgment from the law, peace, compassion, for everybody, for his fellow man, having no deceptions in your heart, not doing it to deceive, see, but that all might understand and know God and observe the law of God, which is necessary for life. We're going to pick it up here in chapter 9. 9 is a harvest, and we'll find out there's always going to be a harvest in the Word of God. Verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord. In the land of Hadrach and in Damascus shall be his resting place, for the Lord's is the eye of man, and all the tribes of Israel. And this would be the burden of the Lord, and we can remember the prophets. They prophesied, you shall not use this word burden, this load. We'll find out that's what a burden is. A burden is something that has to be carried. It's something that has to be packed around. It's a load. See, a load to be carried. It's something you really don't want to be caught with. But this is the load that from the word of the Lord, and that word of the Lord is that which God has spoken, that which God has declared, his what God has said, what's going to happen. It's like a judgment. This burden, this load you're carrying around in the land of Hadrach and in Damascus shall be his resting place. And this is the place where he will rest. Damascus is that place where the sackcloth weaver is working silently. Sackcloth weaver's weaving his way because he's weaving the garments of mourning, and it is within in this land of Hadrach, and that is the dwelling. That's the dwelling. That's the dwelling place of it. For the Lord's is the eye of man and all the tribes of Israel. And these would be that which belongs to God, showing possession of it. It does belong to God. God, all the tribes of Israel, and these are all the nations of, these ones that come forth from Israel. That's those that contend with the Mighty One. And the eye of man as well. These understandings, these perceptions of men and man, those with seed, because we'll find out, see, God has the ability to control everything. All things, see, too. And Hamath also shall border thereon. Tyre and Zidon, for she is very wise. She is very wise, this feminine, and a feminine is this woman, or this feminine here, would be that pleasantness of it. We're going to find out. Hamath is a fortress. Hamath is a fortress of walls, and a walls is something that separates. And if we build a fortress, that's what it would be, a walled city. And it does border thereon, Tyre and Zidon. And Zidon is those fishermen. That's what they do. They fish, they hunt, they look for the souls of men, and they are those even in Tyre. And Tyre is that which they merchandise. See, it's a merchandise. They turn it into merchandise. And those merchants of that place, Tyre is a rock, and that's what it was founded on. 3. And Tyre did build herself a stronghold, and heaped up silver as the dust, and fine gold as the mire of the streets. And Tyre, that rock, that merchant city, founded upon fishing for the souls of men, did build herself a stronghold, did build her a place to stand and make defense against, and heaped up that silver as the dust. Silver is something that's going to pass through the fire. Silver is that generations that pass through the fire, and they've heaped it up as dust. It's without number. And fine gold as the mire of the streets, and this fine, it doesn't have to be refined, see, and it's this gold that belongs to God anyway. These souls, this understanding, it does all belong to God. It's become like the mire of the streets. These streets are where they make their way, the paths that they go by, these streets. And this mire is that which their feet are sinking into. 4. Behold, the Lord will impoverish her, and he will smite her power into the sea, and she shall be devoured with fire. Behold, watch and see. The Lord will impoverish her, bring her to poverty, and he will smite her power into the sea. And the sea is all this vast understandings, these great waters that appeared that can't be divided. They are become salted, and she shall be devoured with fire. She shall be devoured with fire. The fire is the judgment. It always represents the judgment of God. 5. Ashkelon shall see it and fear. Gaza also, and shall be sore pained, and Ekron for her expectation shall be ashamed. And the king shall perish from Gaza, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited. Ashkelon was that place of weighing out, even from the beginning, the weighing place. And it was a place where they set the scales, that measure it thereof. They shall see it. That's this. Those that are of that weighing place, those that are of judgment, they will witness it. And fear. Gaza also. Gaza's that strong, that it is that place of the stronghold, that's of the strengths of strong, and this shall be sore pained. They will be afflicted. And Ekron for her expectations shall be ashamed. Ekron means ripped up by the roots, and even that which is ripped up by the roots. See, that which is ripped up by the roots, for their expectations shall be ashamed. These things that they looked forward to, these things that they expected to happen, see, they will be ashamed that it's not going to happen. The king shall perish from Gaza, and that king is the Molech. He shall perish from that strength, or from that stronghold. That's what it is. And Ashkelon shall not be inhabited. And that place of weighing out, that place of judgment, that's what it is. That place where the scales are set, shall not be inhabited. We'll find out. Judgment, it belongs to God, and it belongs to no other. 6. And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. And a bastard is a mamzer, and a bastard is a child of incest, like Moab and Ammon, the child of a Jewish father, non-Jewish mother, or I say that Jewish, a Hebrew mother, not a Hebrew father, or a Hebrew father and not a Hebrew mother. That means there's a mixed understanding, and we'll find out. That's what it really means. And this one of mixed understanding shall dwell in Ashdod. That's that place of devastations. And it will cut off that pride of the Philistines. And Philistines are the drifters, these wanderers, the drifters, these that go about. They're the ones that drift away from the understanding of God a long time ago, and He's been using them for an example since that day. And this pride of theirs, their exaltations of theirself. 7. I will take away his blood out of his mouth, and his detestable things from between his teeth, and he also shall be a remnant for our God, and he shall be as a chief in Judah, and Ekron as a Jebusite. And I will take away his blood. This blood, the blood is the life. The blood is which gives you life here. That part of life that is the flesh, and that which gives the flesh its life even in the beginning, which was sin. When they sinned from God, He did cause them to dwell in the flesh. See, they were cast out of the garden, and they became flesh because they had no understanding. They had died. And this is that which is in his mouth. That portion that sin even in his mouth, that which poureth out, and his detestable things from between his teeth. The teeth are that which is sharpened and made wet. That's literally what it means, that which is sharpened. And these that which you chew, and these detestable things that are between his teeth, that which he's mauled over. These are the idols. These are the detestable flesh, that which the Lord said you shall not eat, that which you shall not partake of, that because it's abominable. It's abomination unto the Lord. And he also shall be a remnant of our God, because see, God, these ones he scatter, a remnant he has prepared from them even. We'll find out. See, God rules all nations and all people. He's God, and he shall be as a chief in Judah, one of the mighty above those of Judah, and that's those of praisings, over those of praisings, a chief, a ruler, and Ekron as a Jebusite. And Ekron is this one that was ripped up by the roots. Remember this, that was ripped up by the roots will be as a Jebusite. A Jebusite is a thresher, one who thrashes, and these were the Jebusi, and the Ebusi, these were the threshers, these one who's threshed, and this is what that which is ripped up by the roots is going to be used for, a threshing instrument. 8. And I will encamp my house against the army, that none pass through or return. And no oppressor shall pass through them any more, for now have I seen with mine eyes. And I will encamp about my house, the abode, where the Lord said he would put his name even in the beginning, and against the army, those that have prepared themselves, that none pass through or return. And no oppressor shall pass through any more. And no oppressor, that means no one. These that oppress by the understandings, these that lead away the flock, these that have no understanding, that were led away. See, these that drifted, wandered off. For now have I seen with mine eyes. These things have been perceived, and it is done. 9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king comes unto you. He is triumphant, victorious, lowly, and riding upon an ass, even upon the colt, the foal of an ass. Rejoice greatly, rejoice, shout, O daughter of Zion. This understanding of that parched place, that place God set as a marker from a long time ago. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. And that's that daughter of understanding, that daughter we expect to bring forth of Jerusalem, that place of peaceful teachings. Behold, look and see, your king comes unto you. He is triumphant and victorious, lowly, and riding upon an ass, and this colt of an ass even. And this one who is triumphant, he is justified. See, that's to be justified, and he is victorious. He is saved. He has been saved, and we'll find out. God saves. God brings salvation. He did it through the law when he put it inside you even in the beginning. He is lowly. He has been humbled. See, he has been brought down by a form of browbeating, of the understanding, the reminding, the law, the holds you back, and he is riding upon an ass. Ass is something that carries the burden. It's something that packs it around. It is and we'll find out, the ass that has to carry the burden. That it has to carry the burden. God made it that way. It's the colt, the foal of an ass, and a colt is the male ass. He is the male ass, or the jack. And the foal, I mean, it is that which is born from an ass. Ass is going to represent a rule. See, a rule, that which carries the king. We'll find out that which he sits on, and this would be a government, so to speak, in a sense, an authority, maybe even a king himself. 10. And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the nations, and his dominion shall be from sea to sea, and from river to the ends of the earth. And I will cut off the chariot. That's that war machine, the judgments of God from Ephraim. Ephraim are those double-fruited, those that bear more than one. And the horse, that's the strength of Jerusalem, that place of peaceful teachings. They shall be cut off. And the battle bow shall be cut off as well. That bow that they do battle with. And that's where they bend. They bend. See, they bend, and we'll find out what they're bending. It shall be cut off. He shall speak peace unto the nations, and he's peace. This to be at peace, and these nations here are all the nations. And his dominion shall be from sea to sea, and his dominion, that's the kings, shall be from sea to sea, and that's from all the waters to all the waters, and all these understandings that God put upon the earth in the beginning, and from the river to the ends of the earth. And this river is that which descends to the ends of the earth. And earth is always the earth. That's the ground, the earth itself, and all things that come from it, and all things that are in it, even flesh, leaven. As for you also, because of the blood of your covenant, I send forth your prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water. And as for you, also we'll find out, just the king, because of the blood of your covenant, I send forth your prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water. And because of this blood, that's that blood in the covenant, that sin that's in the covenant, that agreement, see what God made in the beginning. I send forth your prisoners. These are the ones that are being held prisoner. That's to been taken prisoner of the pit. And that's that hole. And that hole, and a hole is a snare. Hole's like a snare. We can take it as a teaching or an understanding that men have, and they have made a snare with it, or a pit, dug a pit with it, and there is no water. There's no water in it. It's a dry hole that they had fell into. Water is the understanding. That's what maintains the life. 12. Return to the stronghold, you prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto you. Return to the stronghold. Go that place that was prepared in the beginning. See, for a stronghold, we're going to say it's Zion. You prisoners of hope, those that have been released, those that have seen the light and they have come forth. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto you. Even today, in this understanding, do I declare that I will render double. And render double is called, and this is to be a repetition, to add again, to do it again unto you. 13. For I band Judah for me, I fill the bowl with Ephraim, and I will stir up your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Jaban, and will make you as the sword of a mighty man. For I bend, see, Judah, I bend those appraisings for me. See, now God has took the bow, see this bow, that's the strength of those appraisings, and God bends it for him, and he fills it, we'll find out. I fill the bow with Ephraim, and that's the double-fruited, these that go forth in judgment. These that go forth bearing more than one fruit that we can see and observe and have understanding, see, those arrows of judgment. I will stir up your sons, that's those that come forth from you that bear seed, Otzion, and once again Zion, that parched place. See, that's that parched place. God punished it once. That's how it got parched. It's that post that he set there for a reminder. See that we can see that place he had judged before. and your sons, those that come forth from you, the seed, O Yavon. And Yavon, King James says Greece, and we can put the shoe on whoever it fits. O Yavon. Yavon is the effects of wine, what comes from it of wine. And we're not talking about that fresh squeezed wine. We're talking about that wine that's had to sit around, it's fermented, and the effects that come from it, we're going to find out, was drunkenness. And I will make you as a sword of a mighty man. And this sword, we'll find out, are these words that go forth in judgment. 14. And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning. And the Lord God will blow the horn, and will go with the whirlwinds of the south. The Lord shall be seen over them, and God is above all. And his arrows shall go forth. These arrows are his judgments, these things that he does. These are even those lightnings that go forth. We can see this lightning is a judgment that goes forth that's lit up. So we can see the light that comes from the fire of it. These that are being punished even by God for not observing the law, which he gave you in the beginning for your own understanding and for your own knowledge and for your own wisdom, for your own good. The Lord God will blow the horn. God's going to sound the warning, and God already has. And he will go with the whirlwinds of the south. And these whirlwinds is this storm. It's a whirling wind, these whirling, twisting winds, this that comes forth across time. It's like a storm in time of the south. That's that parched place where we can look towards and witness. See, that's what it stands for. 15. And the Lord of hosts will defend them, and they shall devour, and shall tread down the sling stones, and they shall drink, and make a noise as through wine, and they shall be filled like the basins, like corners of the altar. The Lord of hosts will defend them. We'll find out in the end. God stands up and defend to save. See, because God is salvation. And they shall devour, they shall destroy, and shall tread down the sling stones. And these stones that they sling are these stones. A stone represents a truth, no matter how big it is, small or large. And it is slung. It can be hurled. See, it's something I can pick up and I can throw this little tree, this little bit of truth or some kind of ordinance or law that I've picked up off the ground, off the earth, out of that which God made even in the beginning. It's going to tread it down. See, it's tread down. We'll find out there was a great stone taken, and it mashed everything up. And they shall drink, they shall drink, they shall take in the understanding that comes from God, and they shall make a noise through wine, as though through wine, as like those that are under even the effects of wine, and they shall be filled like the basins, like something that can contain, like a bowl that can contain, like a cup or anything that the wine can be poured into. Like the corners of the altar. And the corners of the altar, we'll find out, where when it was filled, it poured out. And that it poured out there at the corners of the altar. And why at the corners? Because that's where it turns. That's where the altar turns. That's a place where they slay. And that's where they turn. They turn to God, see. Because that is the altar of God. That where he made in the beginning. 16. And the Lord their God shall save them in the day as the flock of his people. For they shall be as the stones of a crown, glittering over his land. And the Lord their God, he shall save them in that day as the flock of his people. As a flock, just like those that can be led easily of his people. These that are going to add to the flock even. God shall save them. God does it, see, with God's Spirit, with God's understanding, with God's knowledge, God's wisdom. It's the law. He gave it to us in the beginning. In that day, even in that understanding, they will be part of his flock. For they shall be as stones of a crown, just like these precious stones, those that have been made hard, been hardened by, we'll find out, by God's understanding and God's judgment. In a crown, this glittering over his land, it sparkles, giving light, showing beauty over his land, that which God made, even in the beginning. 17. For how great is their goodness, and how great is their beauty. Corn shall make the young men flourish, and new wine the maids. For how great is their goodness, how great is the goodness that God has given. See how great this beauty, this marvelous, this wonderful thing which God has done, that he has adorned them with understanding and knowledge. Corn shall make the young men flourish. Corn, a harvest, even a great harvest. That is what will make the young men flourish, are these young men, and those that don't have a whole lot of understanding, those that are learning, and this is going to give them great hope, and to bear fruit is what it means to bear fruit, to have this understanding that does bring forth fruit, a new wine. And this wine, this maids is Batulah, and that's the virgins, those that have not known men, this wine here. And we'll find out this wine here is the new wine. It's the Tarosh, and it's not been fermented. It's freshly squeezed. It comes from the grape that gives it up, and we'll find out it's the pure understanding that God gives, even from the beginning. This in the new harvest, or even that last harvest, when we harvest from the vine, we squeeze the grapes and make the wine, this wine being the fresh wine. There's always a harvest. That's the harvest, this corn and this wine, and that is the harvest that we was going to receive. Why? The understanding of God is flourished. The knowledge of God is flourished. The wisdom of God is flourishing. And that is the law which God gave you in the beginning, see, for your own good. And great is the goodness thereof. Let's move to chapter 10. Turn and return.